Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Blair Witch. There's something evil hiding in the woods.
Written by Simon Barrett, directed by Adam Wingard, and starring James Allen McCune, Callie Hernandez, Corbin Reid, Brandon Scott, Wes Robinson, and Valerie Curry. In the third installment of the Blair Witch franchise, James is going to the woods to try and find his sister Heather, who you may remember as the snot-nosed poster child from the first one. Well, James believes that she's in the woods still, and it took him 20 years to realize he should go to the place where she went missing. So what do we like?
I felt like, despite there being a huge time gap in the film, it didn't feel like there really was.
I enjoyed the way that they shot this. Yes, it is found footage, but they explained themselves very well by having everybody wear a camera in their ear, kind of like a Bluetooth headset, so that you always have the POV shots. They also had like a DJI Phantom for the drone footage, and just like a couple other cameras, so when people were talking, you can get both angles without it looking too awkward, and without it looking too shaky.
Yeah, the use of the multiple cameras really helped make it feel like a documentary, make it feel like it's found footage. In the first one, they didn't have jump scares. It was more of a environmental fear. Some of them didn't need to happen, but some of them did kind of help with the movie and set the tone for what you were in store for.
Towards the end of the film, there's actually some genuine scary situations. They handle claustrophobia a lot, the idea of being alone, stranded, and they toy with a bunch of different elements that will probably freak you out. I did like that there wasn't a sound bed throughout the movie. I mean, yes, they have some like deep tones when it's convenient for a jump scare, but all of the sound effects really helped for setting the mood of the forest, especially if you're in like a pretty decent theater and you can hear birds chirping or leaves crackling and trees fucking making tree sounds. It just helped feel like you were in a forest. Now let's move on to our dislikes. The main reason the original Blair Witch was successful was because everyone thought it was real. It's very difficult to pull off the same stunt again, being the third in a franchise, but they definitely tried a little too hard to try and make it a documentary, and I don't think it worked.
The biggest problem I have with how this movie was cut is the damn little jolt quick cuts. Like they do it in a lot of these found footage movies, and I hate that transition.
When you hear any kind of glitchy sound effect or you see this kind of garbled up video, you know it's not real. I've had multiple SD cards die when shooting this exact show, and you know what happens? You just can't transfer it to a computer. You just lose the footage. You don't get pieces of footage. The way that it works is you either have it or you don't. And what's strange about these two is they tried to use them as jump scares sometimes. Like you just have like somebody walking through the woods, and because the glitch sound effect is so loud, they just kind of use it to startle the audience to get them back into watching the movie. And with that, I know it sucks to compare this to the first one, but because the first one used the environment and the slow building tension to make the film effective, this movie did not. There is a pretty decent climax, but it comes a little bit too late, and everything before that is way too cheap. And it's the same shit that everybody is cranking out these days, very reminiscent of a Blumhouse film.
And the lore doesn't even come close to what the original was. You'd think that they would stick with the same premise of they go to sleep, it's daytime, they wake up, something is up as the week progresses. In this one, they copped out and just said, oh, we're trapped in this like parallel universe where it's always night. Making it always nighttime and making them not be able to escape because it's dark, that's not scary. That's just silly.
Yeah, if they would have taken a similar route to what they did in the first one, and especially with the kids these days that are watching this movie, they've all played PT or seen a Let's Play of PT where you kind of go through the house over and over again and see something change and things start to slowly degrade over time. That is a much more effective way of building tension as opposed to throwing in some glitch edits and some pulsating feet.
Now, this is kind of a spoiler, but you see the witch in this movie, and I feel it didn't need to be seen because it takes away the mystery, and without that mystery of who the witch really is, it makes you want to see more of the film and learn more about the history behind this forest and the witch's story. It didn't add to the movie.
Millennials these days, they're gonna fucking lose it if you don't see it at the end. You have to show it. You saw the backlash from fucking Babadook, and everyone's just like, we better fucking see this thing. Why wasn't it in the whole goddamn movie? They had to show the witch. They had to. And I know that there was an uproar back in the day when the first one came out because they wanted to see the witch. Horror has changed, John, and it's not always good. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Well, I'm a fan of Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett as a team. I was not a fan of them being on board with this. I don't like the rehashing of Blair Witch, an effective horror movie, and turning it into a jump scare movie. I wish it was still The Woods and they didn't have the Blair Witch aspect to it and just people go delusional in the woods like they originally suggested it would be. The acting wasn't that strong. We did have some standout performances by Lisa and James, but nothing was really believable in this movie, and I couldn't really get into it. I did appreciate the cinematography because it was easier on both the eyes and the stomach, but I don't recommend this movie. Not a big fan. So much like the film, I have to use an unoriginal idea for my rating. So I'll give this 1.5 tenths out of 5.
I was pretty excited to watch The Blair Witch because The Blair Witch Project was one of the scariest films I've ever seen growing up. Teenage me was terrified because I thought it was real. Coming into this film, I knew it wasn't real. And it's hard to get behind a story and actually appreciate the charm that you're looking for and the charm that worked in the first one when it's obviously fake. There was editing techniques that I did not enjoy whatsoever, but I appreciate that they upped their scare tactics in this one. And I was actually scared at some of these moments. I think a younger audience is probably gonna appreciate this more than someone of our generation because we grew up with the original. We grew up with the first one. We grew up with the mystery. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 2.5 branch dolls out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on Blair Witch. Did you guys like it? Do you like the more jump scare stuff, or you want like the slow building stuff, or are you a Book of Shadows kind of person? And it's almost October. We have like a ton of stuff coming your way, including a bunch of paranormal reviews that John's gonna do, and I'm doing some disturbing ass shit, so subscribe for that stuff.